It's not even an apology. Let's see what he said.
All right. I never thought I'd make a video like this, but I think there's an important conversation to be had, and I just want to be fully accountable, honest, and transparent with all of you guys. So I'd like to start by thanking every single person who's came out in the past week to speak about different ways in which my behavior has made them feel uncomfortable or pressured during a sexual situation, and to people who said that I've made unwanted advances and had a hard time with rejection. I'm sure this was not easy to do. It's never easy to speak out, and it was hard for me to hear as well, because to be honest with you, up until this point, I didn't even really realize that I had this pattern that had affected multiple people. I'd also like to apologize for my silence. I think that when this stuff first came out, I was in a state of denial and shock. I was, just riding the high from my movie that just came out, and then within 48 hours, I was denounced by my closest collaborators, and my name was printed in 40 different news outlets next to the words sexual misconduct, and I just kind of spiraled into a mental health crisis. I'm okay now, but I don't really think this is about me. This is about the people that I've affected. So I just want to express my complete sympathy, respect, and support for anyone who I've done wrong by. And I really want to do better and be fully accountable for everything that I've done. So that being said, I want to make a few things clear. I've always taken no for an answer. As far as consent, I've never overstepped that line. But I think I want to have a more nuanced and important conversation about power dynamics, pressure, and coercion. Because, like I said, I think for a long time, I was behaving in a way that I actually thought was normal. I thought that, going home from the bar alone made you a loser. I thought that persistence was a form of flattery. And I thought that, if at first somebody was reluctant, they're playing hard to get, just try harder. And if you think someone's feeling you, make a physical advance and see if they go with it. And I think that especially I realized when so many young people, especially young men, rushed to defend me when this stuff first started coming out, that this type of sex pest behavior is normalized. And a lot of people think this stuff is normal when I don't think that it is. And I think that I want to be fully responsible for not having a fluid.
This part is actually, people are saying that he's not like taking accountability. I understand where you're coming from with that, but I do think that this part is actually constructive, considering that he also recognizes his behavior was sex pest behavior, and he's saying that like he personally did not understand that he was doing something that is incorrect. Now, you might not take that, and that is understandable, but that doesn't change the reality here. And what he is saying here is objectively true. And I think that it's important for him to say that. I don't know why he did not. I mean, he mentioned the victims immediately and said, thank you for coming out and speaking out about this. Maybe I'm missing the point, but like, I don't think he actually said anything along the lines of like, I apologize for the trauma I've caused for you, and I'm working on like offering steps of restitution in some meaningful way. I know my words might not mean enough, especially at this point, considering that like, the harm I've done, but I will do everything in my power to, make it right. Something along those lines would probably have been important to address originally, like immediately out of the gates. Because I do think that he recognizes the actions immediately. As far as what I've seen, it seems like he recognizes that he has done a lot of wrong. And even people who have defended him, he says, are not doing the right thing by defending him, because he recognizes that he's in the wrong, which is a good thing overall. But I do believe that he should have directly said, like, I apologize for my actions, apologize for the trauma I caused. Maybe I missed it, though. I will rewatch it again.
When this stuff first started coming, a fluid understanding of consent, that I want to be fully responsible for not having a fluid understanding of consent and what enthusiastic two-way consent looks like. That being said, a lot of the things that have been said online about me are not true. A lot of things are missing really important contextual information that I think would change people's interpretation of life.
I think this stuff, now this part is vague. And I don't think vagueness in this circumstance helps Andrew at all. I do think that he should have openly stated, like, there are certain accusations made by like third party, friend of a friend, something like that, that are just like objectively untrue. And they muddy the waters of the real victims in this situation who I have personally wronged or personally harmed. You know what I mean? Because I think that it was one of the things that, it was one of the first things that I saw, other than the like I said, firsthand accounts and actual allegations by people directly about how they felt like they were wronged, how they felt like they were assaulted, violated, whether it be their personal space or whether it be their experience with Andrew. When I saw, random fucking TikTok comments being like, oh yeah, he hooked up with young people, I heard from the drummer of a band that was like friends with Andrew or something. And you know how like people that live with their parents, they're all underage 99%. And that's like an insane fucking thing. You know what I mean? That's like, that is an insane accusation that does not contribute to the main point of contention here. Okay? And I think that they should not be mentioned at all. Like, they should not have ever been brought up as like a serious pattern of behavior. Because there were plenty of examples of people that were recounting their personal experiences that showcase a pattern of behavior, which he seems to recognize as sex pest behavior, which he openly states. He doesn't say directly, but he very clearly says, like, this is sex pest behavior and it should not be defended. And the reason why men defend it overall is because they too do not recognize that it's bad. And this is like a conversation that needs to be had about consent.
A lot of these situations, but I'm not here to invalidate anybody's lived experience. If you feel pressured, that's just what it is. I hope that young people and young men in particular can use my mistakes to learn and move through life with a better understanding of consent. As far as what I have planned, I'm not really sure what comes next. I mean, obviously, reporting is my one true love, and I'm 25 years old and I have my whole life ahead of me. But I really think that I need to do some serious work on myself and figure myself out. So I'm going to start therapy sessions pretty much immediately. Also, not to blame alcohol, but I truly believe that alcohol was a contributing factor to my poor decision making. And I think that alcohol in general has had a devastating impact on my life. So I think I'm going to make the decision to join the 12-step program for Alcoholics Anonymous. And during this journey into sobriety, I want to take a serious step back from public life and, like I said, figure myself out. And I hope that this reaches the ears of anyone who's felt affected by me. I'd love to reach out to you, or you can reach out to me, even just for me to say, I'm sorry, and I really apologize, and I appreciate you all. I also want to apologize to my closest collaborators, my friends, my family, and people who will have to wear this stain on their career forever. You guys don't deserve this, and I love you guys. That being said, if you never want to watch Channel 5 again, I understand. I hope you remember the missions of radical empathy and media literacy that we have tried to put into the world through our coverage. All right, that's all I want to say.
Oh, you can take it out of emote mode. You can't say, I don't know what consent is. Thanks for coming out. Must be tough. That's a bullshit apology. I think he should have. No, he did apologize to the. He did apologize to the girls. He didn't just apologize to his homies, but other girls. But I think the fact that a lot of people are still having a hard time with that is because he did not make that. He did not communicate that clearly. I think that should have been in the first part of it. Like that literally should have been the first part of it. This conversation should have started off at that point. Other than that, like, I think other than that, I don't know. I mean, it's good that he doesn't blame the alcohol, but I think it could have been better left that part out. Yeah, I think it also partially plays into him saying that, like, he wants to become a better person. And that's another aspect. That's another aspect of like him taking accountability, and that's another aspect of him taking accountability and also saying that he needs to become a better person. Like an actionable improvement. Yeah. Ultimately, what's the point of making an apology video for the best of your ability when 90% of people are just going to shit on you for it? I mean, if you truly feel like you want to become a better person, like this is the first step. There's nothing else you can do in this circumstance. And for a lot of people that say, you're a lot of people will say, this is not good ultimately. And it's true because his actions are still his actions are still the main point of the main problem. And enough time has not passed since people learned about what he had done, despite the fact that he was an otherwise beloved figure leading up to that moment, which is why, people are not going to, read this with any kind of charitability because like he doesn't have, he hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything to show people that he's different. You know what I mean? People are still learning about the consequences of his actions, his harmful actions. You think people like Andrew should be accepted back into society if they rehabilitate them? Fucking dude, what do you mean? Of course. The fuck are you talking about? Like literally I think everyone can be rehabilitated. That is not like just because I knew Andrew or anything like that. It's just like my constant position always is that rehabilitation is the best path forward, of course. Comparable to the Artemis scandal? Brother, me going to a brothel that was later, a decade later, raided for tax evasion is a little bit different, I think. Don't you think? What the fuck is wrong with your brain? Are you fucking insane? I think he should have differentiated. I'm being as charitable as humanly possible here. I think one thing he should have talked about, one thing he should have definitely talked about was like, not left it vague here when he's talking about like, oh, well, there's a lot of stuff about me that like, if you heard context, it would be different. That is left vague, and I think that does a disservice to if his goal is to ultimately say like, I fucked up, I did something wrong, I did it wrong a lot. Here are the reasons for why I did it. Not that it matters. What matters is like the victims. What matters is the trauma. And then after that, if he said like, there's also additional things that people have said, like third-party accounts, stuff like that are completely irrelevant to the conversation, takes away from the conversation that should be had. I think that would have been better. He should have like very clearly communicated exactly what he was talking about, like exactly what he means is like, what he is saying is like the fake bullshit. But overall, I think it's a decent apology, even though it should have had a much better emphasis on the victims and their trauma and his actions and what it caused. But normies will eat this up most likely.